All right, so far we've talked about a couple of basic functions like adding and subtracting. So if, just to review those real quick, to add numbers together, you always start every function with an equal sign, and to add numbers together, you're looking for the sum. So we start with equal sum, a beginning parenthesis, and then we select the cells that we want to include and an end parenthesis, and then we can tab over and continue on adding those columns. Oops. All right, but there's actually an easier way. Once you do this one time, so I'll just delete the last one I did. Once you do it one time, you can actually paste the same logic to these cells. So what it'll do is it'll say, oh, okay, so here you wanted to add B2 through B10. So if we're pasting it here, we must want to add C2 through C10, and here it would be D2 through D10. So what we're doing is we're going to tap on the one that we already did, pause for just a second, tap again, copy, and then we're going to select all the other cells that we want to paste that logic to. And then we're going to choose Paste Special. And then instead of pasting the format like we did with fonts and stuff like that, we're going to paste the formula. So now it added all of these numbers together and found the answer of 26. So you can see if you tap on each of those, you'll see up here, it just did that, wrote that equation for you, so you didn't have to do it. Over here, we were trying to find the improvement. So Justin Bieber, what was his improvement from the first day of school to the end of the year? So to do that, we did equals, and subtraction's a little bit different in Excel. You don't have to use like an equal sum or an equals difference is what I would expect it to be. But you just tap on your first number, do a minus sign, and tap on the second number. So again, we're going to tap on that G2 with that answer, copy, and then drag down, paste special and formulas, and it will do all of those for us. Okay, so that's how you use the paste special function button. So we've done adding and subtracting so far, but let's talk about averages. If we wanted to figure out the average of column B, we could say, okay, well, you would add all of the answers together and divide by the number of people, right? That's how you find an average. So it would be adding these numbers together, which we already did there, and then dividing it by 9. There's 9 people. Or you can just write equals average, average, and then carefully select the numbers you want included, and there calculated the average for you. So again, for this column, equals average, and select the numbers. Okay, so again, we'll use that same thing. We'll use the copy and paste special and formulas, and it will do all the averages for us. Sometimes you want to know the total, sometimes you want to know the average. Other times you might want to know the highest number in the group of cells, or maybe the lowest number. So let's say who's got the lowest score. Okay, so to do this, we are finding the minimum number of the range. So equals min, and then we'll select, and you could do the whole thing, or maybe it's just from that first day, whatever it is that you want to do. So let's find the lowest score at the end of the first quarter. Equals min. And then if we want to use the shortcut, copy, paste special, and formula. Okay, so the lowest score is 1. And with this small group of information, it's pretty easy to know that Marilyn, only did 1 the whole time, and so she's got the lowest score. But in a group of really a lot of numbers and a lot of cells, that would be a lot more difficult. So to find if the lowest score is equals min, the highest score is max. So that is how we would find the highest number. So it found that 13 was the highest number on the first day. So we can copy, paste special formulas, there we go. So the reason why we don't just eyeball it and say, oh, okay, well that's pretty easy. I can easily look in this column and see that 60 is the highest number, but what if this was a total typo and this was supposed to be 16? Watch this number right there. It will change, so will the average, so will the total. All of those numbers will update for you automatically instead of you having to recalculate all three of those numbers. It didn't change your low score, but it did change your total, your average, and your high score. So that's why we don't just simply tap in there and type in 58, because if Betty White's number really should have been 38, that would make a big difference. A couple of other things. You see how these columns right here, to fit all of the words right here, the columns have to be pretty wide. So instead of having them like that, we can use the alignment button, and way at the bottom is wrap text. So what it does is now when we can kind of scooch those columns narrower, and it will stack the words for us. So you see up here, it's stacked the words. So if we highlight row 2 and go to alignment, see right now, all of those words are sitting at the bottom of the cell, but if we change it to middle, we are aligning it vertically. We're centering it vertically. Vertically would be between top and bottom, so the middle would be centered vertically, and if we're talking about horizontally, we're talking about from left to right, so if you needed to center it horizontally, it would be that option. Centering it vertically would be this option. All right, it's also Project 3 is going to ask you to do some borders and shading, so make sure that you're paying careful attention to the cell ranges here. Borders and shading are right there, so if you choose borders, maybe it's a thick outside border with a gray shade, so that's just the fill button right there. So that's all you have to do. Just pay special attention to the cells that it's asking you to include. All right, one more quick thing is inserting cells. So if you needed to add a new student, if you got a new student, maybe it's me, and you want to add me in between Fred Flintstone and Marilyn Monroe, we would need to add a new row. So we would tap, we want it to go between those two, so I'm going to tap on row 5 and hit insert, because it always inserts a row above where you have selected. So that's where you can add it in. Again, adding in that row, if I add my own information, it automatically updates everything. I don't have to go back and change anything. It will just automatically update it for me. This I would have to recopy and paste special right there. But otherwise, it automatically updated everything down here for me. If you're adding a new column, it will always add to the left of where you're selected. So if I wanted a new blank column A, I would select column A and hit insert, and now I've got a new blank column A. So that's how you insert rows and columns. That should be it, and you should be able to do project 3 with no